insight on these topics. We now move on over to Asia once again, where the United States President Donald Trump has said that he would love to meet the North Korean leader Kim Jong Un during his current Asia trip. Kim Jong Un said that he would be open to meeting the president if Washington drops its demand that Pyongyang give up its nuclear arsenal. Meanwhile, Trump has arrived in Japan for the next leg of the Asia tour that could see Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping to end the bruising trade war between the world's largest economies. Trump is set to arrive in the South Korean city of Busan on Wednesday, ahead of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, where he will meet South Korean President Lee Jae-myung. South Korean reunification minister has stated that there is a considerable chance that Trump and Kim will meet. Trump has reacted to the situation. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
On your way here, have you heard anything back from
I haven't mentioned it. I haven't said anything, but I'd love to meet with him if he'd like to meet. I got along great with Kim Jong Un. I liked him. He liked me. If he wants to meet, I'll be in South Korea.
Would you extend your trip in order to try to meet
Say it.
Kim? Would you extend your trip in Asia in order to meet with him?
Well, I hadn't thought of it, but I think the answer would be yeah, I would do that, sure.
We're now joined by Rabinder Sachdev. He's an international affairs expert and he joins us live from New Delhi. Rabinder, it's always a pleasure to get your voice on these issues. Is this possible, a Kim Jong Un, Donald Trump meeting this week?
It could be possible, and more than possible, it is probable. Let's say possible is anything in this world, right? But what is the probability? So yes, there does seem to be some probability happening. And in fact, I'm very much looking at it because you see what this would mean. Trump is trying to peel away North Korea from Russia also, and from China also. So if Trump and North Korea end up with some kind of a peace agreement or some kind of an agreement, which creates a thaw, let's say, in a way, that will help America to little bit try and rope in North Korea from helping Russia too much in the Ukraine war. So that's one grand objective also, I think, of Trump in kind of pursuing and looking forward to the meeting if it could happen. The last time some attempts were made was, I remember, around the Winter Youth Olympics. In fact, I was involved in it, peace between North and South Korea. But then the South Korean president lost the elections, and the new one who came in is much more a hardliner. So far, relations between North and South are very much, rhetorical and hard and harsh. So if Trump can, bring about some progress on that, I think that would be one key objective. One should very clearly look forward to, because this whole Asia trip for Trump is turning out to be a very strategic trip.
Yes, and of course, Donald Trump has said multiple times about how much he gets on well with Kim Jong Un. What does he admire about him?
Trump, not only about Kim Jong, Trump admires people whom he thinks are smart, hard, aggressive, decision makers, successful in that big bunch, right? So within his country, yes, Kim is successful. He's the one in power. Okay. The same way, if you were to look at the Pakistan Field Marshal Asim Munir, Trump appreciates him. He says it openly because he sees that guy strong decision maker. Putin, strong decision maker. Trump has an affinity for people who are strong, successful, decision makers in whichever world they may be, in the world of good or in the world of bad. And he wants to have a one-on-one interaction, and quote unquote, the word deal has been overused, but yes, to make deals with the counterpart. So Trump respects strength.
Yes, Rabinder, do stay with us. We have further updates from, of course, President Donald Trump, where he said that he expects to decide on next week's Federal Reserve Chair by the end of the year. He stated that maybe by the end of the year we'll make a decision on the Fed. Meanwhile, the US Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, has said that we are going to do a second round and we hope to present a good slate to the president right after Thanksgiving. Besant stated that the pool of candidates have been narrowed to 5, including Trump's aide, Kevin Hassett, former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh, current Fed Governor Christopher Waller, Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Michelle Baumann, and BlackRock executive Rick Ryder. Rubinder, what impact will this make on the American public? Who the president nominates for the Fed chair? Of course, Jerome Powell is the current chair of the Federal Reserve, a man who he himself nominated but now has a very, very public disagreement with about inflation.
No, absolutely, yes. And the last sentence which you mentioned is the core which Trump wants. Trump wants the Fed to lower the interest rates. Firstly, Trump wants to, in a way, control or dictate the Fed. The Fed typically is an autonomous agency, you could say, and the president should have no role, no interventionist role in the policies of the Federal Reserve, right? Trump wants that not to be so. He wants that the Fed, in a way, should report to the president, right? One. And secondly, then what he wants is that the Fed should lower the interest rates. And that's been a struggle. I mean, essentially, the struggle is always between, in a way, interest rates and inflation. But Trump also wants the Fed to lower the interest rates so that the stock markets can go up. Trump wants the stock markets to show up well and high because that's a metric he uses when he talks. You know, that stock market was there when I came, and in 1 year, this is where the stock market is. Now, if the interest rates are higher, then typically stock markets, I mean, they go their own natural, trajectory. But if interest rates are lower, then, companies can borrow more, they have to pay out less interest, and the treasury bonds become less attractive for investors, so they go more towards the stock markets. So Trump wants the stock markets to be on the high, interest rates to be low. That's one key aspect that he wants the Fed to bow to his will. The other aspect is of inflation. For inflation, Trump's formula so far was and is that prices of oil should stay low. But now with sanctions on China and India for buying Russian oil, if these two countries stop buying Russian oil, the world price of oil will go up because there'll be slight shortfall in the world production, so to say. So if oil goes up, that's not good news for Trump. That is why he is also chasing oil deals across the world. And especially with Russia, he would want that the Ukraine conflict get over so that American and Russian companies can collaborate for oil production. You heard him say the other day that our sanctions on Lukoil and Rosneft are there till the war, and after the war, these companies should be back in good business.
Just briefly, Rubinder, Besant says that the pool has been narrowed down to 5 candidates, 4 of which have experience within the Fed. One, however, is a BlackRock executive. His name is Rick Ryder. Donald Trump has a track record of not hiring people with untraditional backgrounds in these government positions. What would be your view of nominating someone with a background of this kind?
No, very interesting too. I mean, if you see Trump's current cabinet, his commerce secretary was heading a hedge fund, Lutnick. Besant was heading another fund and hedge fund or such institutions. So Trump seems to have a liking for, individuals who are professionals, of course, and who have operating and running an executive experience. So in that sense, the BlackRock candidate could be a natural choice for Trump, perhaps, unless it's someone more that Trump wants from an ideological bent, then he would go with one of the regulator kinds who align perfectly with the MAGA and his vision. That would be one. But on the other hand, having somebody with an entrepreneurial background, let's put it that way, is something I think which Trump normally goes with.
Yes, Rubinder Sachdev, it's always a pleasure to talk to you on these issues. Thank you for taking the time and joining us.